Humphrey, 80267. Oh, wait. 100. I'm sorry. My number is 100-412.
All right. Thank you, Darrell. And we have Ms. Shauna Clark here who will be speaking at the appropriate time. We're here for parole revocation hearing. I'll ask you some rule violations. You plead guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, not guilty with a statement. We'll ask some questions. You can respond at the end. We'll let you make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Reading right?
Big
Can
brother.
you read?
Yes, sir.
And you have a parole revocation questionnaire in front of you.
Yes, sir.
That's your signature at the bottom.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, great. Darrell Humphrey, DOC number 100412, rule number 4. On or about 12/22/2021, you're involved in criminal activity in the commission of the offenses of reckless operation of a vehicle and domestic abuse, child endangerment law in East Baton Rouge Parish. You were arrested 12/22/2021 by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office for these charges and booked in the East Baton Rouge Parish Jail. On 3/15, the pending charges were dismissed by the state per the victim's request. How do you plead?
Not guilty, sir.
Okay. Number 10, you are currently in the arrears of $622 towards your supervision fees and $65 towards processing fees. How do you plead?
I am guilty with a statement. I do owe that money.
Guilty with a statement. All right. Would you answer Mr. Knox's question, please?
Good morning, Mr. Humphrey.
Good morning.
You said not guilty to number 4. Why is that?
That's the first charge. I plead not guilty because I really want to plead not guilty with a statement. What happened was me and my girlfriend, we had been having words. We pulled up into a Circle K station where I don't remember every single thing that happened, but I'm gonna try to give it to you the best I can remember. She came around the car.
Now, listen, I have the video of what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a police report of what happened, and so I can see what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I asked you, why did you plead not guilty?
I think that I might have pleaded bad because this did happen. I mean, the incident did happen, but I don't believe that I was abusive toward my girlfriend. I was more or less trying to avoid a confrontation when all this kind of like broke out. In the video, I mean, in the statement, it says that I hit her with a closed fist, which I really don't remember. They also says that she hit me, she slightly pushed me. And that is when they say that I hit her. I may have responded and threw my hand up and hit her. I'm not saying that this is the way it happened because I can't remember it. It all happened so fast. I went to grab her to try to, get control of her because she was mad at me. You understand? But no fighting. I wasn't trying to fight her or throw her down or anything like this. Just to control her, talk to her. When I see that I could not let her go, I stood there and tried to talk to her. I said, babe, would you please just bring me home and you can go home? We can't wait for the police. So we waited for I waited for the police. I didn't run off or anything because I didn't feel like I did anything that was all that wrong.
Have you been in jail since when?
Man, I've been in jail since 3 days before 22nd.
22nd
Yes,
of December last year.
yes, ma'am. 22nd of December. Yes, ma'am.
You were released on parole, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Parole,
Yes, ma'am.
March of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go through the parole project?
Did I do what? I'm sorry.
Parole project.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Then you went to Joseph Homes,
Yes, ma'am.
part of your transition plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, but the record, and I understand that, Ms. Clark chose to dismiss the charges, but I see what happened. It's very clear in the video what happened. I see the children, and there's a witness in there that also confirmed, that there was something that happened. So I don't have any other questions of you, Mr. Humphrey.
All right, Ms. Clark, would you like to make a statement? You can sit there and make a statement.
There was a, I was supposed to be a letter to you guys, no longer said that I would.
Right, yes, ma'am.
Basically, just here to reiterate that, yes, there was an altercation, you know, we had some light physical contact, but I just feel because of, you know, I mean, the cases that you guys see, like the horrific things that goes on in the city, I just feel what happened between us was so minimal. I just feel like it would just be so painful to see people go back to jail for all that time for something so small. You know, I was not hurt in any way, or my children weren't hurt in any way. If anything, he's a victim of my anger and my rage. You know, he did nothing but good to me. You know, I have an anger problem. I deal with anxiety, depression. I go off and I say things I don't mean. I just really, I really regret this. I can see him using therapy as a result in my eyes. I wish, again, like in the letter I say, I wish I would have just as officer, which really initially that's what I wanted to do, but when the officer came, he immediately went to him, turned to me, you know, turn around, chance on back, all that there, you know, I had lipstick stain on my shirt that I wasn't aware of, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's blood, that's blood, that's blood. I'm like, no, that's not blood, you know, and he was making it more than, and I was angry, I really was, and I wanted him away from me at that time, but I really wish I would have asked them not to, you know, go as far as arresting him. If I could take it back, I would. We really just need to be separated at the time.
All right. Thank you so much for your comments. All right, thank you for being here, and thank you for your comments. Mr. Humphrey, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I regret what actually happened. It happened so fast. I never intended to hurt anyone. I don't think that I did. There was no medical examiner came out to see any bruises or anything. I was leaving in the car. I was leaving in the car to avoid the conversation, but I said I cannot just leave my girlfriend and her two children in front of us. So I turned around. The little girl was running at the car saying her phone was in the car. I turned around and went park the car back where it was and tried to talk to her. I didn't come there for a fight. I wasn't trying to fight. I was trying to avoid all of this. I knew my record and what it looked like, and I knew that looked bad on my record. But I didn't do this to cause no fight or anything. I was trying to avoid all this stuff. I was trying to avoid it. I ran head on into it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments.
Thank y'all.
Have fair to vote.
Yes.
Ms. Bernat.
Mr. Humphrey and Ms. Clark, I hear from both of you very clearly. You know, domestic violence is of great concern to me. We do have photos, images, and some marks on Ms. Clark. You know, my vote today, Mr. Humphrey, is going to be to revoke your parole with encouragement that you get involved in some anger management, domestic abuse prevention classes. You have the opportunity to reapply for parole. We'll send you the instructions on how to do that.
Ms. Wow.
Mr. Humphrey, I agree with you. This is so unfortunate. But when you're on parole, You have to conduct yourself in a manner that the police do not have to be called to correct the situation. That's the rule of play. And that's so, I concur with my colleague. My vote is to revoke based on the case documentation that we've been presented and the footage, video footage we have.
All right, 2 votes to revoke. Also, I'm going to vote to revoke for the same reasons as stated. 3 votes to revoke. Today, your parole's been revoked. Good luck to you.
Thank y'all.
Man, you might not know it if you if you didn't have the information. And thank you, Richard, for sharing it. But he's facing a life sentence. He had life. He was given parole before they started doing the parole hearings or he had his sentence commuted. We don't have that on record, but we will show his next parole hearing when it comes up. And he was a Parole Project client. And I always find it amazing when the Parole Project Parole Project does not show up for them in the revocation hearings. I think we've seen them show up to 1 or 2, maybe 2 revocation hearings that I can recall. But they say they're going to give all the support, and then they don't show up when they're backing a life sentence. And, can you imagine backing a life sentence and what you need to do is not get revoked, but you can't help yourself, and you hit your girlfriend with a closed fist and you do all that they charged you? It was interesting. He came in with one game plan about how he was going to handle this revocation hearing, and Miss Renatza just shuts it down. She's like, I know what happened. We know what happened. We have the footage. We have the police report. So why did you tell us that you didn't do it? We know you did it. And he's like, oh crap. And then his girlfriend shows up and tries to defend him. And it's just, I feel like if you ever want to learn about how DV and why we always see how we often, more often than we should, I think, she actually used the words, he's a victim of my temper. And we just see that all the time. And it's, I am the least qualified person here to talk about why that is, but it is what we see very often. And anyways, let's go look at why he was locked up. And gosh, he blew his second chance, man. On May 15, 1995, Schwan Jackson had recently ended a relationship with the defendant and was living with her aunt. At approximately 8:30 p.m., Schwan Jackson and Juanita Adams. Wait a minute. Wait, this doesn't look right. Okay, no, it is right. It is right. My bad. So she eventually agreed to speak with the defendant, and they went into one of the bedrooms. From this point, there are contradictory accounts of what happened next. According to Juanita and Wanda, from Juanita's position on the sofa, she was able to see inside the bedroom. Juanita observed the defendant push Schwan into the bed, and she told the defendant to leave her residence. After the defendant, Schwan, exited the bedroom, the defendant informed Juanita that, am I pronouncing the name wrong? Schwan? Is it pronounced Sean? No. Schwan would be leaving him. However, Schwan refused to leave with him. Upon entering the kitchen, the defendant grabbed a knife from the table. So what makes his revocation even more awful is that everything he did is around a woman. So if you can imagine that the person that just makes it even it's not like it. So the defendant grabbed a knife from the table, and Juanita Adams picked up a hammer. Oof. Juanita told the defendant to put his knife back on the table, but he refused. At that time, Wanda Adams and Schwan were both in the kitchen, and Wanda was standing in front of Schwan when Wanda stooped down. Defendant stabbed Schwan in the chest, mortally wounding her. Oh my God. The defendant then fled the residence with the knife and said that the next time he would kill Schwan. So he got paroled and then he gets revoked for punching his girlfriend in the face in front of her children. The defendant gave different account of the night's events in a statement to police. He stated that he was upset with Juanita and she's sitting there defending him. It's just bizarre. Like, out of all the men in the world, you pick him? Really? Someone who is in prison for killing his ex-girlfriend? My understanding was his, and then you get hit in the face and you show up and you tell the parole board that he's a victim of your anger? He stated that he was upset with Juanita because earlier she had sent Shawan Jackson to obtain crack for her. When the defendant expressed his objections, Juanita told him to leave. The defendant wanted Shawan Jackson to accompany him, but Juanita Adams stated that Shawan Jackson was not going anywhere. The defendant grabbed Shawan by the arm and began pulling her towards the kitchen. Juanita grabbed the knife and approached the defendant. This is his story. When he was able to take the knife away from her, a struggle then ensued between him, Shawan, Juanita, and Wanda, during which everyone fell in a pile. It was then that Shawan was stabbed. What a story, huh? They all just fell in a big pile. I didn't see anybody stab her. I can't remember stabbing her myself. I was just, you know what's funny is that this story sounds in so many ways similar to the story he just said. I can't really remember. I can't remember stabbing her myself. If I was to say I stabbed her, I would be, I would be saying that I really don't know. It is possible that I could have accidentally stabbed her, but I was going down inaudible. I was trying to protect myself. When I was going down like them, the weapons that I had took from my auntie. I mean, let's play it back just so you can see how so almost identical it is.
And that is when they say that I hit her. I may have responded and threw my hand up and hit her. I'm not saying that this is the way it happened because I can't remember it. It all happened so fast. I went to grab her to try to.
Can you imagine, right? I can't remember. If I was say a stabbed her, it would be saying that I really don't know. It's possible I could have accidentally. It's like the same. It's almost the same, which is just pretty wild. In that defense, that's just you think you learned the first time. That's just not going to work, man. In a grand jury indictment filed on May 26, 1995, the defendant was charged with second degree. When arraigned June 28, 1995, he entered a plea of not guilty. On November 2nd, 1995, the trial conducted a hearing on defendant to suppress denied motions. The trial proceeded and the jury returned a responsive verdict of guilty of manslaughter. Then in April 1996, they filed an habitual offender on him, fourth felony. He was sentenced to 40 years at hard labor, credit for time served. He entered a plea of not guilty. Then they did the habitual offender. It's funny, he gets 40 out, he gets the maximum for manslaughter, but with the when they got him on the habitual offender, they vacated the 40 years and they gave him the life because you can get that for the habitual offender. We see that all the time where after a sentence, they'll vacate that sentence and then give them the habitual offender. But yeah, and then you would think that you get out, you get a second chance. You had the Parole Project there to help you. You have a girlfriend, you have, everything, but you can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. And I don't know what to say. It's just, it's It's hard to understand, and it's really just sad. But it probably was Act 122, which is why he was allowed to have a parole hearing. He served more than 20 years on a sentence. He's over the age of 45, so he got his chance at parole, or is possibly got a sentence commuted. We're not entirely sure, but if he does apply for another parole hearing, we will cover it, and we'll see if they'll say, well, some more programs helped you out. Man, I mean, he's no spring chicken. He's you think at a certain point you grow out of it, but he's close to 70 years old. And with that, I'll let you go.